Hey friends, welcome back to ME My Hook and I, or Me My Hook and I, or however you want to say it. It is a special day today because we have Becky Smith from Pan Fran Knit Co.
Woohoo!
And I've gone all over the place. I went straight into the yarn without really asking any of the questions, which that's okay. We all wanted to see the yarn.
It's important.
It is important. But I did want to ask, what took this from hobby to business for you, and how did that transition work?
Yeah, so as we've talked about before, I worked with children with disabilities before, and that's tied to my official degree. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. Um, Turns out that if you only have a Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology, there's not a ton that you can do with it without getting a master's degree in a related thing.
Yeah.
And we also moved to Tennessee, which unfortunately is social services are pretty underfunded here. And there is actually a lot of need, but basically I was going to take like a 50% pay cut when we moved up here. And it's hard work. Like, I love it. You have to have a passion for it to do it. But
Right.
yeah, that was a lot to stomach, to be like, oh, I am undervalued in my field here and there's less jobs open.
Yeah. Wow.
So basically I said, if I'm not going to get paid well to do something, I might as well start something.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. So you did a little bit though before you moved to Nashville, right?
Yes, yeah. So we actually moved here a little over a year ago from Chattanooga, um,
I couldn't
which
remember if that was 2 years ago and that's why Pan Fran was 2 years old, or if I thought you had done some in Chattanooga.
yeah, we did start in Chattanooga, and I know there's been a little bit of a struggle once we moved to Nashville because like I do have a really good network here, which is awesome, and that's definitely trading up. But our house is about half the size, if not less, of our old house. So
Yeah.
yeah, kind of cramming all of this yarn that I've accumulated into one little space, and I have one cabinet in the kitchen, and that's it for my dye stuff.
Wow. I feel
So
you. I feel you on that part. I'm so grateful we downsized from a mobility standpoint, but from a craft hobby standpoint, I am running out of storage
right,
options.
yes, I know the storage is needs are so real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went, I guess, then full time from Chattanooga to Nashville. That's when Pan Fran Knit Co became a full time affair, then, right?
Totally. Yeah. And it's really great here because like Chattanooga was really wonderful. I had like a great yarn group there and everything, but there's just more in Nashville. There's a lot of local yarn shops here. Shout out to my East Nashville fiber friends. Like they're really cool and awesome and definitely got me like in the fiber world here. There's also like a lot of like just cool happenings here in Nashville that weren't as much of a thing in Chattanooga. So, like, I don't know if you've heard of SSK, which is a summer sleepover knit, something like that. I don't know. It's
Oh,
basically this like yarn retreat that happens in Nashville during the summertime. And people come and they stay overnight and they do like workshops all weekend, shopping. That one's really cool. And if you don't have the funds to go to the actual retreat part, they do have like the um, marketplace open, which is pretty
very cool.
fun. So there's lots of yarn slingers there hanging out. And last year I had a really good conversation with there was this awesome dude selling like e-spinners, which
Oh, cool. Wow.
yes, I know. Someday that's gonna happen for me.
So you're like, God, we love this congregation. Can we please
Yes,
stay forever?
yes, yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there is lots of great stuff in there for the quilting community too that I would just die if I got
yeah.
got
I
to do
know.
it.
There's something about Nashville. I guess we're like just far enough north that it actually gets cold here. So there's like just real crafty culture.
It is a really nice place. It is.
Yeah.
I visited there frequently when I lived in Knoxville. Um, so we have talked about the different fibers that you offer and having stuff for warmer weather. But okay, weather aside, you could work with whatever fiber you want. What is your absolute favorite?
Oh, that's a tough call.
I knew it was going to be, but I had to ask.
I don't know. This is an unpopular opinion, but I could use cotton for everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I find cotton to be like one of my least favorite, but tell me more. Why?
I don't know, if you're, no matter what you're doing, it kind of has like this definition that wool doesn't necessarily have. I mean, wool has like the soft, like fluffy factor, like you know, it feels
Right.
nice against your
That's why I
skin.
tend to like cotton. I'm kind of like, that's not.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something about cotton that it just breathes. If you're making amigurumi, it has like a more like dense structure. But if you're weaving with it, like on the rigid heddle, it like fluffs out somehow. I don't know. Like
Really?
it behaves
That's fascinating.
differently depending on what you use it for. So
Huh. Now
yeah.
I'm like, I gotta go get more cotton yarn to
Yeah.
test that out. Because I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't worked with a lot of it because I feel it and I'm just like, not so much. I did get a cotton acrylic blend for my amigurumi, and I loved that for the stitch definition of it. But I liked that it had a little acrylic in it because I felt like that was like going to be a little easier to cuddle with.
Adds a little bit of stretch, probably.
Yeah. But sometimes I don't, maybe less stretch would be good because I'm an overstuffer sometimes, and I can really make my stitches go. Gosh, I'm a little afraid I'm gonna have to take my dog to the vet.
Oh no, I have a finicky
That's
dog too. So
well, I'm filming outside, obviously, and we just cleared off this. We had a tree fall down.
Oh no.
I should cut this out. I shouldn't be talking about this. But anyway, we had a tree fall down with the storms the other day. But the nice thing about it was we cut it up and made like a circular area in the forest part of our yard. So he is not gone in the forest part of our yard until we started doing that. And I'm afraid he's been eating some stuff. So
oh no.
He does not look so good. Anyway.
I think our Gizmo like got a mushroom in our backyard a few weeks ago because he had a little stomach thing.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's just gonna get it out of his system, and at least we're outside, so that's good.
Maybe a good thing to keep hanging
less
out
cleanup. So back to my free for all interview here. I've been wanting to know? I think you had it on your website for a while. Pan Fran Knit Co. Where did that come out of? Becky Ann Smith, and I know what your maiden name was too, and it has nothing to do with either of those. So tell me about that name.
I know. So I have this little panda bear that was my like lovey. I think from about like first grade on, and anybody who knows me knows that pandas are my absolute favorite animal of all time. We're like incredibly lucky in Atlanta because we actually got pandas when I was like 9 years old, and I think they arrived like a month before my birthday, so it was a really big deal.
I remember that even being in South Carolina, that it was a big deal. Atlanta got
pandas. I mean, like I think at the time we had like there were like 3 zoos at the most in the US that had pandas, so the fact that they came to my zoo was like, what? No way. So this panda though I love him. My older brother actually bought him for Christmas one year. Like we saw him at Cub Foods, like dating myself here because Cub Foods I don't think it's a thing anymore.
I don't think so either, but that's all right.
In fact, the one that it was is now a YMCA on Johnson Ferry. So
okay. Well then.
Yeah, but I saw the panda and I was like, oh, Mama, can I please have it? And she wouldn't because it was almost Christmas time. So my older brother went and bought it for me. And being the very creative 5-year-old that I was, I named this panda Panda.
Hey, it works.
Yeah, so that's the first part, Pan. And then actually when I was I think 25, my big birthday present was that I got a tattoo. And it was while we were
Oh,
living in San Francisco. So his name is Francisco.
oh,
Yeah.
awesome. I'm
So it's kind
tracking.
of a little, I don't know, what is it, like a slant rhyme? Like Pan Fran Knit Co. So it's Pan and Francisco, and then also adding the knit part. So
Very cool.
yeah, it took us
Now
a
I
while to like
know.
land on that, but
Hey, it's
you know,
memorable. It rolls off the tongue. It's all the things you need it to be. So I'm
yes,
totally tracking with you. That's awesome. I'm so glad I know that now.
yeah, my two
So
pandas.
2 pandas. So 2 years. How did you get from being in Chattanooga, dyeing your own yarn, and now you got noticed by Vicky Howell? You're being featured in the Advent. Uh, why can't I say calendar? I always want to say Advent yarn something something.
I think
The
it,
Advent
yeah, she's
calendar.
calling it 24 days of yay too. So like, I know I keep calling it an advent calendar, but I'm like, is it? I don't know.
It's not. Yeah. It maybe it's yeah. Anyway, so I know you said you had been sort of networking for her for a while, figuring out some things, and I was thinking, holy cow, that's going to be a ton of yarn. How is one person going to do that? How did all
Yeah,
that come into fruition?
yeah. So uh, basically when I first started, I was working a little bit more on like like the finished object market thing, which is really difficult to make any sort of real money. People just don't buy it very quickly. Um, and usually if they admire that kind of thing, they'll just be like, oh, I can make that myself. I'm inspired, but not necessarily inspired to buy.
Right.
So that's where like back when we were living in California, I worked at a local yarn store, and my favorite thing to work with was always something that was indie dyed. So one person or a group of people dyeing the yarn, and kind of having that little handmade magic basically
Mhm.
embedded in it. There's something like extra special about it. So I wanted to get into the dyeing game, and then kind of grew into that. A little bit still while we were in Chattanooga, but even more since we've moved to Nashville. And yeah, I mean, one of the things about the Vicky Howell thing is that I've been a big fan of her work for a really long time, and like, I don't know if you've listened to the Craftish podcast.
I don't know, but I will look it up for
Yeah,
sure.
so that podcast is from her, and it does deal a bit with like craft and stitching, crochet, knitting, and that kind of thing, but really more so it's like a podcast about business people, creative business people coming together and saying like, what is craft versus art? How did you get into your business? That kind of thing. And it's pretty inspirational for me to hear so many stories of people, like saying, I started here and then I grew this big thing. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like an exploration of like what can you create using your resources, um, and like what's in your brain basically, using your community too. And I've been very blessed because I have a really awesome community, both in the church but also personally. So my husband's father has actually been like a huge advocate for me, and has purchased like all of these different equipment things for me, and it kind of just felt like starting out I already had like the best stuff. So I'm
Cool.
kind of like,
Score.
well, if I have the best stuff, maybe I should do something to make money with this stuff.
Sure.
um, since I'm already starting out with some good equipment and things, and a lot of ideas in my brain. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of been like it's been like a time investment sort of thing, I feel like. So we started in 2017, no, 2018 officially, and just kind of like inching my way along and seeing where I can take it. And like what kind of networking I could do and growing out of like a little bit of something into something bigger. So yeah, so the whole Vicky Howell thing is like, I'm basically just a big fan of hers, and
and I have to say that's one of the reasons when I was first getting back into crochet and I wanted to do a yarn subscription box because I knew it would get me introduced to fibers and maybe even colorways that I would not pick myself. I also feel like it's a good deal for what it is to be able to get such a quality product out of it. But the other thing is that she is so into supporting other people and other makers, and she's even flipped a lot of her focus lately into making sure people of color, the BIPOC movement, making sure that that's being represented. And I just think that's awesome, and I wanted to invest my money into a box that did something better for that. I mean, I have since sort of backed off from it a little bit, and I'm trying some other things, but my first reason for going forward with that was because I thought, wow, like she's caring about who she's sponsoring. Some of these other subscription boxes that are using big box store yarn, that's great because it's a great value and it's a great deal. And for crochet, sometimes you just really don't want to waste the good quality yarn on the product that you're creating.
Whatever,
So I'm switching to that for a little bit, but like Yarnie is always going to be where my heart is because I know that, and even if we were to start looking into how this fiber was produced, I'm sure we would be appalled at what some of the conditions are, and it just is what it is right now. But to find companies like this that try their hardest to do the best to make it ethically appropriate and, support the little people coming up and, expanding your business the way it is, it's just a really awesome thing. And I noticed as I was searching for, like you always do these things to see, okay, what's trending on YouTube now in the yarn community and the crochet community of what's worth a video creating, what's worth investing your time / money in for the content that you're going to get. I don't think people realize that even small YouTubers are looking at that. I noticed Yarnie doesn't have like just as big of a following as I personally thought it did when